The Automobile Association is predicting a steep rise in the price of fuel come Wednesday. But that's not all. April will see another significant hike as new fuel levies are introduced. Finance Minister Tito Mboweni announced the increase in fuel levies by 27 cents a litre during that budget speech this week. International oil prices are also on the rise. Let's bring in Automobile Association spokesperson Layton Beard joining us by Skype tonight. Layton, good to see you. So why are you so displeased with the fuel levy increase?
Yeah, Thembekile, I think when you look at all the increases that are on the horizon come April, this is just going to add to the woes of so many consumers out there. I think, we saw last week that the High Court gave Eskom permission to increase their tariffs by 15.6% in April. We're going to add 27 cents in the general fuel levy on the road accident fund levy and 1 cent on the carbon tax levy to the fuel price come April. And that, mind you, is off the back of two significant increases we've seen already. March is going to have another heavy price rise to fuel. We're seeing Sunroll increasing their rates. Everything is getting more expensive. At the same time, Thembekile, salaries are not keeping pace. People aren't being paid what they were the same time, not even last year, but in 2019. People's salaries have been reduced, those people who are lucky enough to actually have jobs. So all in all, this is just going to add to the misery of people who are struggling already. And in our view, that's a whole load of South Africans that are just going to feel a lot of added pressure. I think for us, very key to all of this, Thembekile, is that this is going to add another layer to public transport fees as well. And people who are struggling to look for work, or people who, as I said, are struggling to keep their jobs, are going to find it increasingly difficult to get around, to find those jobs, to get to those jobs, because public transport is just going to become that much more expensive, and salaries, as I said, and wages are not keeping pace.
And just on how bad you expect the situation to become for March alone, this coming Wednesday, you're predicting an increase in the price of petrol of up to 66 cents a litre. How do you arrive at that calculation?
Look, we've looked at the numbers from the Central Energy Fund. They're unaudited, and I can say that normally the AA is really bang on with its predictions, maybe 1 or 2 cents out. We look at international oil prices, we look at the Rand-US dollar exchange rate, those two factors being the most important in terms of driving the local fuel price. Oil is obviously, on an increase, and it's getting even more expensive. And I think if you look to the future, if that trend doesn't turn back a bit, the value of the Rand against the greenback isn't going to be enough to offset oil's rise. So we're looking at that 66 cents a litre increase. And, people talk about this in cents, and they say, the fuel levies, it's an increase of 27 cents. It's not that onerous. But when you combine all of these factors, Thembekile, and you look at the Eskom increase, and you look at the Sunroll increase, and you look at the increase to public transport fees, all of this is going to add up. 6 Rand plus a litre of fuel is going towards taxes. 6 Rand 11 just to the general fuel levy and the road accident fund levy. That's around about 39–40% of every litre of fuel. And that's incredibly onerous, specifically on people who are already under the cosh, people who can't afford even the basics. Now, when you factor in that, suppliers, manufacturers, the agricultural sector have got to absorb the 6 Rand into their input costs. How are they absorbing it? They're passing it on to consumer through increased prices. So not only are consumers finding it difficult to pay for certain things because of the transport costs, but now those goods that they are buying are becoming that much more expensive as well.
So where should government have looked to Layton then to raise revenue, which we know is desperately needed? Is it an increase in corporate tax, which some say should have happened?
Yeah, I think you're trying to put me on the spot unnecessarily there, Thembekile, and get me to find the solution. I
wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't try, Layton.
No, absolutely. Look, it's a difficult question to answer. There's all kinds of permutations, and people have got all kinds of debates around this. I think for us, the key issue is when we look at government spend at the moment, and where that spend is being targeted, and the mood of the country in terms of bailouts, and in terms of the bloated public sector, and in terms of these stories that we hear on a continuous basis of corruption and where money is going, increases like this don't sit well, specifically with consumers in general, but I think specifically with people who are struggling. So in that framework, I think, the message from the AA would be that it would be more palatable to have an increase of this nature if that type of framework was in a better state, which it isn't at the moment. And our concern lies with that. You've got a lot of money being spent in areas we believe, can be brought back a bit. To add an increase on top of that is for us a little bit disappointing.
Layton Beard, good to speak to you. Thank you.